curly hair.
Right.
And I can't really wear it just down and natural.
Right.
Because then I put this on and it pushes it all in and it
It was
changes the whole
ruining
look.
my hat.
It just changes everything.
Like I took my time to make sure the hat had no creases.
Yeah.
Then I wear it. Then it got a crease. And I'm looking at the video footage. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm not wearing the earphones.
Wow. No, you really just changed the game for me. Well, let me just put them on just to say that we're good to go. All right, awesome.
Hey, Floyd,
I
what's
know
good?
you heard as well.
Yes.
All right.
He's like, let's go, guy.
Let's get into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you go.
All right. All right, everyone. Welcome back. This is your girl, Bree Undeniably. You are tuned in to my new speaker series, Deep Conversations with Dope Individuals. I am definitely here with a dope individual, someone I'm super pumped to introduce. We've got some things in common. He's really going to talk about a lot of what he has been through in the entrepreneurial space. Again, this podcast, at least this series, we're really focusing on development, decision-making, and dedicating yourself to purpose. Mm-hmm. So those are going to be the three things that we really touch on. But the individual I'm introducing today is Kareem Reemo Meerak Tyson, who is an Afro-American Caribbean male born in East Harlem, raised in Laurelton, Queens. Laurelton. Oh my! You can
LA.
tell I'm not a New Yorker.
No, it's okay.
No.
No, it's all right. No, it's cool. It's cool.
That's all right. I've been here for 5 years, 5 more years, and then I'm a real New Yorker, I guess.
Yeah, 10 is the litmus test, I guess,
okay.
of the mark.
Check in with me in 5. You're currently living in Harlem. You're an independent actor from 2006 to the present, media personality, TV, radio, and podcast from 2012 to present. A&R for a music publishing label, multi-award-winning TV producer. We've got a lot to talk about. We're talking about entrepreneurship. I mean, you've got your hand in so many places. I'm gonna keep going. I want to keep introducing you.
Yes, please. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
So much to talk about. Like I
know.
said. Let's see. You've improved with your brand as a media personality, podcaster, as well as transitioned into filmmaking and television production. One of your main platforms, ReemTV, which ended its final season January 2020.
Yes, it did. Ooh, oh, that was the baby. Oh, we could talk about that. That was the baby.
We're going to talk about ReemTV for sure. That won multiple awards at film festivals, known within the hip-hop and independent industry. You returned to your podcast radio, February 2018, City Rock Radio, and currently curates your own podcast, which you started in November 2019, called the Reemo Meerak.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, I love this. Just a couple more lines, and then we're really gonna get into it. This man, I'm telling you, I got the right person.
On encyclopedia, him. How dare he?
Yeah, this is so awesome. Like, you are the person that I need on this podcast.
Okay.
All right. So, for summer 2020, in the third quarter, you created a podcast from your vlog called C.U.T.S, which stands for Culture, Urban Technology, and Sports.
Yes,
that's it. That's the one right there.
That's the one you gotta go like this.
That's the one right there.
You go you do both your arms and you swing in the chair. Like, ooh.
I love to hear it. So that's part of the growth process.
Yes, it is.
You speak one-to-one with today's figures under the acronym to display the stories of their careers as well as informational advice for your fan base called My Creatives. Reemo Meerak, welcome to the show.
Bree, we're shaking, bacon.
Thank you so much for being my dope individual today.
Yes.
It's so great to have you here.
Yes, first and foremost, I gotta say off the rip, I get more geeked up and anxious for the cross brands versus not regular, but the guests that I have on my own platform. I get so, because you know what it is? Because it's so hard to get somebody from another platform to want to cross brand with you without thinking, oh, well, I don't know what you're going to. It's like, dang, bro, let's really do this. I'm really about that.
Yeah.
Competition for me, that stopped for me. April makes my 10th year in media.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, and April 2022 makes my initial official time of 10 years that I contributed out of, showing my age, out of the 15 that I've contributed since 2006.
I wonder, is the 10-year rule the same in media as it is to be a New Yorker? Because you're making it, if that's the case. You put 10 hard years in that. That is something to.
It's a blessing because I'll fast forward. I'll take it back. Like 2012 was a very, very, very important time in my life. You know, it was like a lot of transitional things was happening. You know, I was going through a lot of stress and depression, you know, beforehand from the acting, because I was an actor before anything. I was an actor. And just that I got over a lot of things, depression, suicidal thoughts, suicidal attempts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got over it. And God, you know, by the grace of God, you know, became an educator, then media, and it came at the same time. So even next year as well, in April, is so important because that's my 10th year in education. So it's like you start thinking about it.
It's amazing.
It's like, oh my God, a whole decade. Both things that I've been heavily about, you know, education and entertainment. As far as media, you put in 10 years, and so much like within that 10 years, which is kind of crazy. And it's kind of weird that it still feels new because, oh my God, like out of the 10, 6 of them, I was behind the camera as a producer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, wow. And even, you know, and I'll never take away from what people give me props for or they respect of what I do. But in comparison to somebody that has more than me, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I haven't remotely even touched the surface. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, from what I know and how I do things with my craft, I do it to the best of my knowledge because of the orient that I was from as far as mainstream and everything like that, or being around mainstream projects. I know what I picked up on. But in the same token, no, it's still fresh. It's still like, you know, I'm still, I wouldn't say I mastered what I've done, but the amount of years that I put into it, you know what I'm saying, I do my best to be consistent. That's the number one thing in hand, you know?
My gosh, consistency might be the number one important thing in just about anything that we do. And that's what I'm finding with entrepreneurship specifically, but just in patterns in life. I mean, going to the gym, you got to be consistent. You know, I got
to get back at that.
Relationships, you got to be consistent.
Oh,
Business, you got to be consistent. If you're working a job, you have no choice but to be consistent.
Ooh.
I mean, it's like the consistency is key. It's like that. It sounds so cliche, but that can't be overstated.
Oh my God, overstated, understated,
or
stated, you know. It's just like, it's like, oh my God. Like, and then, you know what's crazy? I've shout out to my man Chase, you know, shout out to my man DJ Chase, you know what I'm saying? I almost questioned myself like a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I'll tell you like this. I'm a creative. So there's times as a creative, you're going to question about the purpose.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So it kicked in like this one night, not because things didn't go my way. It just happened. And a real frustrating tick came about because I'm big on, you know, my life totality. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on that. I'm big on that for anybody, you know, and when it comes to this entertainment, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a time your life is going to oversee of your entertainment or your entertainment life, right? So it started kicking in, you know, and shout out to Chase, you know, he was talking, you know, we was saying what we was saying, and I got back into it. I got back in the zone, like, all right, you know, I'm still on this path. But I say that to say because, you know, you start thinking about, okay, being a parent, you know what I'm saying? That's been key for me for a long time. Finally living life on a beach chair, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or life as a beach chair. You know, it's just a lot of things started coming into play, and it's maybe it's age, you know what I'm saying? Finally, you know, I ain't gonna really say my age. Man, I could say my age. Like the 40-year-old in me, it's finally starting to like settle in. Not like midlife crisis type, but in a sense of like you're understanding the severity of purpose, and you're understanding the severity of, okay, your time is not wasted, and everything comes into that magnitude. So it's like, it's not to say that I still don't love what I do, but it's starting to come to now, like, okay, the need is lessening from the want. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I want to do this, but I don't need to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Got it. So is it like, is it for you? I mean, I have so many questions here because
Yeah, that's fine.
purpose is a huge piece of the podcast that I'm
by
doing
far.
now. And I know we spoke on this, like the program I'm putting together right now, I'm calling it purposepreneurship because it literally is about like trying to infuse your purpose
Right.
into building a business and building a brand.
Right.
But you said like the need is, you know, there's not so much a need for it anymore, maybe because or not that there's not a need, but you have built your way into
Right.
a place where, you know, maybe you can take more time off, or maybe you can spend more time with family, or maybe you can do
Right.
things that maybe you previously weren't able to do before.
Correct.
So is that like, what does that shifting look like, I guess, or what does it feel like? Like, tell us more about that.
I think more so like even with my recordings, like with cuts, like I love cuts. I love what I do with podcasting and recording, but I scaled back a lot of my days because I was realizing as quickly as I got to 50 episodes, but how I did it, it was like, oh my God, I'm recording like damn near 4 times a week, you know, on Zoom and StreamYard remotely, and then I'm coming here. Shout out to Gotham Podcast Studios. I'm coming here and recording as well. So it's like, wait a minute, all right, hold on. And I'm going to the day job as a teacher. And I'm every now and then at events here and there.
Right.
You know, we were closed down with COVID, but then when it came back, ripping and running, because I do the A&R stuff.
Right.
Oh, man, wait, hold on. Let's start scaling it back. Because also, too, you know, I'll keep it a buck. Like, it started affecting things for me within my relationship with my lady, and not to say nothing. It's nothing of her fault or anything like that. It is coming to me in a sense because, okay, there was times like communicative wise, I would scale back because I was so exasperated and tired. You know what I'm saying? There's no excuse for that when you're in a relationship. If you're with a partner and you're together, you're in it for the long haul and everything regardless, and you still got to do what you got to do regardless. And it's not to use that as a scapegoat or an excuse, but that's just my reality, you know? So, you know, I started contemplating about that. I started contemplating about, okay, there's been multitude of times I missed out on timely family things because I was so much within the 15 years being devoted.
Doing
know,
it almost like it's like you've been doing it for you, but now you want to, not that you weren't doing it for your family, but you had this idea and you went full force into it.
Right.
But then, you know, there is family and there are other people
There's
involved
life.
in your life.
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
That
Right.
like they are not only a major consideration, like that is your life, you know, like
Right.
family is, you know, all encompassing the piece of your life that's going to keep, you know, we don't choose family, you know, we choose relationships, but even still, you know, that is something that really doesn't leave who we are.
Correct.
And so, yeah, it's like almost like making sure, especially at this point in your career, that is a huge piece of everything that you're doing.
Right, yeah, because also, too, as a creative, it puts a better piece to me, you know what I'm saying? That I can create better, that I can be accurate with business or business decisions of what I'm doing and everything, that magnitude. And also, too, it's like when you start understanding of the culture, you start looking into the culture and seeing certain patterns of why it's not such a need for me to be here. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, do I want to be here to stick around with this? You know what I'm saying? Where I could just easily either stay home or, okay, that time could have went to my lady, or that time could have went to a family member that I haven't seen in a while, or whatever the case may be, or for that matter, even for myself.
Right.
It could have went to, okay, travel, ease my mind, and then I'll come back to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then what started happening also, as when you read about the mini resume, the main things I did, I scaled back from that. Because even on a production tip, it started being a bit much. And it started being a bit much because of the projects that was coming to me, and it just wasn't fulfilling. So it wasn't fulfilling to what my vision always has been. You know what I'm saying? Even on a business aspect, you know, just the whole oh, all right, Reemo, do me a favor. But it's like, why am I doing you a favor when you know that this is a service that I'm providing? You know what I'm saying? So that started kicking in, and just the amount of projects that was coming at me, and I was just like, all right, it's not even remotely quality. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's like, if I do edit, or if I do film, or whatever the case may be, you're getting me at a premium, and it's not because of value-wise premium, but it's overall of who I am and how much I believe in a project and how much I see it with my vision and with the production. It's like, no, yo, don't waste my time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I cut that out for so many people that I have in my life now.
Because you know the value you bring, but you also know the capacity you have to bring it. And it's unfair for people to ask you to go beyond that capacity when you're already bringing incredible value to the table as it is with the skills that you have.
Exactly. You know, so definitely just to, you know, when you at that point when it's like year 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you know, those things really come to play because it's like, you know, it's starting to grow. It's growing to a level, or somewhat to a level, even to where, not to say, okay, is it like I'm a mainstream impact? No. But as far as impact itself and the consistency of it for what I've done, and I've always admitted it, you know, people on my live and your fans are going to hear it right now. I've always admitted it, even though my numbers are low. I'll keep it a buck for things that I've done. My numbers are low for what I do. But, consistency has gotten me through many big doors. You know what I'm saying? Just along with my business. And shout out to Hip Hop Gamer. I'm about to use his slogan, character is your currency. You know what I'm saying? Like, that resonated with me, and shouts out to him, you know, for what how he's helped me elevate. You know, when I became his producer for his platform for Hot 97.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, working with him and just understanding things and just understanding, like, okay, we do mainstream stuff. We was doing mainstream stuff for the last 3 years, since 2018. You know what I'm saying? Red carpets. Right. Mainstream people, big time mainstream people. You know what I'm saying? Even COVID shut down a little bit, then we was doing things for the community and stuff like that. And just alone, it's what I seen in front of my face, and I'm like, oh man, nah, this is where I have to be, period. You know what I'm saying? And I was scaling back in my head, and I was even telling people, I'm like, yo, listen, I'll keep it a buck. You're not doing what Hip Hop Gamer doing. You know, not Gamer, shout out to you, not to put you on the spot and nothing like that. But it's just, that's just what it was, because I was already accustomed to a certain level of production. It's like, yo, like, nah, I'm not with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not with that. If you can't even trust me for creative control on things, and just, no, do it this way, and that's it. It's like, nah, you're bugging. Like understand the person you're getting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Understand the person, what he's sacrificing. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, whoo.
Oh my!
We're gonna get some church in here. And the Lord says you're going to rise up.
Preach. Honestly, you're hitting on some points that are so important. But like, I want to bring it all the way back, because I'm hearing it in everything that you're saying. Right. The purpose for you, you know, and as you just told, you know, that whole story, I see it. I see like your purpose transforming, you know, and your purpose, you know, your it's like it started with one thing, you got deep into it, you then started scaling, people started seeing you in a different light, and then that makes you sort of do this whole transformation shift.
Yeah, you have to.
So that's what let's talk on that a little bit. Tell me like what felt like, or first of all, what's your definition of purpose? Because you said it to start, and I gotta hear the definition. Or you know,
for
something
me,
of it.
No, for me, I feel the definition of purpose is what aligns you from destiny to your journey or the promised land or thereof. You know what I'm saying? So it's what what defines you and what you were brought here for.
I love it.
Perfect. That's the perfect way. That's the perfect way for me that I could express about that. You know what I'm saying?
That. Yeah.
A lot of people at times we get caught up in doing things either just for doing it or, for that matter, you wanted to escape from something that didn't work well and just did it. And that was my mistake when I first came into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
That was my huge mistake.
Okay.
Tell
us more.
I was working at like high fashion women's store. I'm not gonna say the name of it. I was in Soho,
Okay.
Luxury women's store, and I was so miserable there because of what I was going through, like the discrimination, the oh, you're a hood guy, ew, you don't know how to act, and it was just so much that I was going through, knowing of what I know of my parents. My mother's is a college professor. My dad was a former UN employee, worker, for the UN. And he was a real sound, knowledgeable guy. My mother's sound master's. He got a master's. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that I grew up accustomed to, didn't grow up poverty-ish or anything like that. Middle-class family, somewhat rich, somewhat wealthy in a sense. And I never grew up in that sense of what they kept trying to, call me out on dumbness. So that was really messing with me a lot. So then, by the grace of God, again, I got into acting. And the way that happened, left the store one day, finishing the store, went to a house party in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I'm being me, joking around, laughing, cutting jokes and all that. And there was a dude that like Lupe Fiasco. It wasn't Lupe Fiasco, though. He was just sitting in the kitchen, sipping on a drink or whatever, and I was in the kitchen, after talking to ladies, like, hey, joking around.
You're doing your thing.
Yeah, doing my thing.
Doing your thing.
We started talking, so he lets me know about Central Casting.
Okay.
That was my first agency.
Okay.
Central Casting. Like, wow, all right. Like, how'd you get involved with that? Oh, dude, I just paid $30. And I looked at him like, $30 do what? Oh no, they took my picture and then they put me in the pool, and I be in movies and commercials and all that. Yo, he didn't even have to sell nothing else to me.
That was it.
Next day, called out. Not going to work. Went downtown to 30.
All right.
Over there by 31st and 6th.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a line. People lined up, paid their $30. Snap, regular photo camera.
No filters.
No filters, regular, just straight up. Yeah. And put me in a pool. So I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, when are they ever gonna hit me up for this stuff? Man, I think 2 weeks later.
For real?
I got hit up. Yeah, I got hit up, and because I applied to a couple of things, I got hit up. So one of them was for Law and Order, SVU.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm a background actor. And I remember the first gig was Law and Order, and they had us at Grand Central Station. So I'm a passerby going through. So I'm getting so hyped. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be by Stabler and Maritza and Ice-T and Chris.
All the excitement.
Oh, oh my God. Yeah, and like I said, as I started, I was so happy because I'm like, oh my God, it's away from where I was at.
Right.
And I was so happy. So for the next 4 years in a row, I was doing this. Mm-hmm. So evidently, unfortunately, I got fired from Intermix because I ain't gonna lie. There was days I had to call out. If I got the gig, oh no, I'm not coming. I'm not coming to here. So I don't care.
Yeah, you're leveling up.
Yeah,
here.
I'm like, I just left like Law and Order. I just left elementary. Yeah. I just did a scene next to Lucy Liu. I don't care.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Right, exactly.
I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap. So they even when they fired me, right? It's so crazy. When they fired me, right? You would think when you get fired, you were supposed to be like, oh my God, no.
Hang your head in shame.
What?
Can't believe.
I might as well put my foot on the desk hey, how long are we gonna do this process?
No way. You're
when
okay,
are we doing this?
I'm ready to go.
Because they brought me. Because I'll talk about it. They brought me downstairs to this all glass window office and sat me down. They let me do all my work, which is all right. They let me finish the day, and then brought me downstairs. Say, hey, by the way, you're fired.
But we need you for the rest of the day.
Right. I was like, in my head, hey, because I already had
coverage.
I already had like a couple gigs already set up.
Yeah.
I already had a couple gigs set up, so it was like, oh, all right, oh, hey. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like Blue Bloods. I was doing like a 3-day shoot. They hired me for 3 days. Oh, hey.
Yeah, that's good. You want to know what I love? This is a pattern of what I've heard. So many success stories come out of getting fired.
Hey, listen.
If you got fired today, shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to you.
You got big things coming to you. I'm telling you, it's like you put your back against the wall, and then most of us, we are swimming like hell. You know what I mean? It's not, it's sink or swim.
Well, I swam.
I was like, swimming. Yeah.
I swam. I was like, oh, word? Because like I said, and I wasn't being cocky about the firing. I just was like, I wasn't confrontational.
Yeah.
I didn't want to destroy the shoe boxes and rip up the dresses. Like, no, that's too much money to rip up. No, I got money to get.
Cut my ties and be out.
Yeah, I was like, all right, hey, you guys are gonna find me for what you find me, then cool. But but it goes to show, like, I was so happy that part of my life was gone, and now I'm in this new life. So when I say that it was a wrong thing that I went headstrong, so happy. See, I didn't understand the business of it, and that was the mistake.
Okay.
So here's the part where
let's talk about it.
Right. So 4 years in a row, I'm doing multiple TV shows and movies. I think the biggest thing I did was I was the flash mob scene, and dancing scene in Friends with Benefits with Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake. Yeah, I was in that.
A bunch of flash. When you said that, I'm like, yep.
Yeah, I was in that scene. I was in the one that was by the Red Steps.
Oh,
when Justin goes to Mila about I'll take the job or whatever, like the job, like that scene. I'm in, like, if you look real close, I'm in that scene dancing, like, oh, city lights, city of dreams, everybody want to know the scene.
That's
like,
so awesome.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I was happy. I was like, oh man, wow, things are really going cool. I might get my waiver so I could be in SAG. Yeah. And I was busting. Oh my God, that was the biggest hustle. I was busting my ass for that. It didn't happen. So what happened was in 2010, things started decreasing. Okay. And I just didn't know how else to get it keeping going. And I didn't understand it. So that's when the depression came, the suicidal thoughts, suicidal attempts.
Sheesh, yeah.
For like a good year and a half. So we're talking like 2010 to like almost going into 2012. So that's when the purpose comes, and I become New York City Department School educator.
Okay.
Boom.
Thank you for sharing those pieces of your story as well, too, because I know that type of transparency, that takes courage, no matter how many times you talk about it.
Right.
And there are people who need to hear it, so I really appreciate you.
By far. And I just want to really have everybody understand the way I handled it. Yeah. I don't want people to think that's the good way to handle it. So the way I handled it was because I felt comfortable to ease back from everybody. I didn't go to professional help. I eased back from everybody. So and that's why I built my self-love that I have now. Like, that's how it built. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because I took time. But if I had to rewind time and go back, definitely I would have went to professional help. I definitely would have tapped in spiritually or been more spiritual within me and stuff like that. But long behold, later on, if we get to that point, I'll get back to it. But I don't promote, no, don't use a doctor, don't use a counselor. Like, no, I don't do that because that's not realistic. Yeah. If it's comfortable for you, then okay, may be cool. But like I said, I took a comfortable risk, right? To say, okay, if I ease back from everybody, settle down, get it within my zone, I'm good. Yeah. So but so that when I became an educator, that's when me, the creative, my happiness started coming back again because I have a purpose, and the purpose was the students. That's why I always say, the students saved my life.
I love to hear this. For those who don't know, y'all know, well, most of you know that I have worked in education for a very long time as well as a counselor, worked with students for as long as I've been able to. When I was in high school, I was working with middle schoolers. When I was in college, I was working with high schoolers. Right. So, and then, went all the way through, became a school counselor. Shout out to all my middle schoolers, all of our middle schoolers in different schools around the city, to my kids in Trenton. Like, I have been
to the educators.
To the educators, shout out to all of them. Because that type of purpose is a different type of purpose, let me tell you, especially when the the money is not there the way that you
man.
know it should
Oh,
be
man,
there.
right.
You gotta really be
Dedicated.
You gotta
be
really
dedicated.
yeah.
So definitely with that, the segue into that, let's get into that. It was, for me, it's always been, it was a quicker way for me to give back to my community. Because you're talking to somebody that was a former D75 special education student. You know, I had an IEP, I had behavior charts, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, the way I overcame it, definitely listening to my mom, and my mom being as open to what the schools were saying and stuff like that, because she knew deep down inside, my mother knew deep down inside, I ain't belong in special education. Despite my emotional behaviors and the fact that I had a big temperament and a real temper, but she knew, okay, books wise, because once again, the cheat code, she's a college professor. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not short from, knowing things. You know what I'm saying? I know things. Just emotionally, I had to get it together, and socially, I had to get it together. So go back, I told myself, I said, yeah, if I do entertainment, I'm definitely going to get back and be in education and give back to my community, because I know, okay, if I do get cool with the kids, which I'm good with kids, if I get good with them, cool with them, that I can get back and give back, and they can see, like, oh my God, hey, Mr. Tyson could do it, I could do it, in that sense, you know what I'm saying? So the kids, they've been like the real deal therapeutic edge to my purpose. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like every day, it's like I do everything to like guide them to a better light and just not fall into these idiot traps or ignorant traps that, the world and society has for them,
Absolutely. I mean, that's hearing that, like, they have been your purpose, that you know how much that speaks to me, because I feel that too. I feel that deeply.
Right.
So much of the reason why I started a podcast to begin with, and as it transitions into what it is, I'm happy about was really because I was like, I have, this ability that I want my students to see it. I want them to see that, like, you can go out and do what you want to do. You can build something from nothing. You can share your gifts in a way that maybe the world doesn't necessarily see you being able to share them. You can still do that.
Right.
And that was my students for sure, are definitely a huge part of why I've kind of started my own thing and gone down this entrepreneurial journey, because when I was working in Trenton, which was my last position,
much big ups to you. Wow.
Yeah. Trenton was like during the pandemic, so it was mostly remote, and then a couple months with them in the school. But a lot of my students, when I would ask them, and as a counselor, you want to help them, especially at that middle school age. Like, this is a transitional point in their lives. Like, everything is changing. Everything is changing. Their minds, their bodies, their social situations, their emotions, their like family dynamics. I mean, everything is changing. They're starting to get jobs, like literally everything. And so many of my students, especially my male students, they had a tough time not even seeing past high school, but seeing past middle school. And that was something, as a counselor, I just had to help them see the next day, and then the next week, and then hopefully we could get to the next month and the next year. But
or next 10 years.
The next 10, exactly. But like, that was something for me, like such a perspective shift that, really brought me to, where I'm at, to trying to, empower everyone that I can, that like we do have these abilities, but we have to learn how to see them.
Right.
We have to understand how to see that. And I have to understand that some people have trouble seeing into tomorrow. And that is for sure, that has been a huge mountain that I'm climbing and still climbing, because, even though I don't have direct contact with those students anymore, because this is my first year, like deep dive full into entrepreneurship and not in education, which is crazy as it is, but that's a mountain that I'm still climbing because I need to find out how I can take everything that I'm doing and bring it back.
Yeah, right.
And bring it back to those kids, bring it back to all the middle schoolers and high schoolers who I not only want to see tomorrow, but I know that they can if we just figure out how to get them, how to make that happen. So you're touching on a real important point for me, and you know, I know that we could go hours on that one for sure. But yeah, the students, the purpose in the students and the education, that's something.
Even when I told you off wax, like the whole running joke that I have with them to show them that I care. Like I'm like, look, they're like, oh, Mr. Tyson, are you going to Aruba? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Aruba. I'm leaving. Getting out of here. I'm getting in this Uber. I'm going to LaGuardia Airport right now. You coming back? Come back on Tuesday? I don't know. It might be Wednesday.
And they don't know what to do. They'll act like, you know, like, oh, see you later, Mr. Tyson. But then they're gonna be, when you come back?
Yeah, when you come back.
Yeah. Will I see you next week? Will I see you tomorrow?
I don't know. Yeah. You know, I squint my eyes. I'll give them that look. Like, I don't know. Then I turn my face. I start laughing.
Oh my gosh. If y'all have never worked in a middle school, then it's like a rite of passage.
Oh my God, let me tell you something about middle school. Middle school is baby adulthood times kindergarten. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense to me.
Yo, because these kids be wanting to be so grown. Yep. And I know, and look, in your fan base and also mine, if they're listening and they're listening to yours as well, I get it. I was a sixth grader too. Okay, yes, but yo, Lord heavens, not like these, like yo, I be like, listen, like these kids be like want to do mad adult stuff now. I'm like, yo, you know, you do that, you're facing adult consequences. No, you can't, cause I'm a kid. And I'm like, no. You do that. Yo, you're not seeing a lot of day of recess. Yeah. That's a fact. You know, it's quiet for you.
Don't think.
Yeah, it's quiet for you. Whatever, Mr. Tyson. Some of them like to call me dad. I had to check that. You know, stop calling me dad.
I definitely got the mom card a lot, and then you know, or aunt, or you know, depending on the structure of the office, you know, who they liked more, who got aunt, who got grandma. Like
right. I'm like, yo, I'm not your dad. I'm not your dad. I'm not your father. Oh, can you get me? I see you eating well. You eating good? Because sometimes on lunch I get certain things. Like I might get a McDonald's. I might get Applebee's. Yeah. I may go get some good Chinese food. I may go, you know, treat myself. Right? Here they come. Oh, can you get me that if I behave? No, go to your parents. Your parents could buy it for you. I'm not your dad. Don't be a meanie, Mr. Tyson. I'm like, no, I'm not your dad. I'm not your parent. I'm not doing that.
Act all adult until they see that you got some McDonald's.
Oh my God, can I get that, please? I see you got Starbucks. Come on, bro. You know, I'm like, no, I'm not your parent. I'm not your dad.
Oh my gosh, I really could. I mean, I don't want to go off on a crazy tangent.
Yeah, no, we gotta get through. We gotta get through.
I could talk for another 3 hours.
I know. Oh man, the war stories.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what I want to hear, what I definitely want to get to though is because you talked about how that purpose for you was the kids. Mm-hmm. So everything that you have done outside of education, right? Let's talk a little bit about that, because these two things have been kind of happening in, you know, parallel universes.
Pretty much.
Your whole, you know, for the past 10 or so years. Mm-hmm. So what has kept you moving forward in a media sense?
Ooh.
So like those building blocks.
All right. So first and foremost, I'm shouting out again DJ Chase, and artists in the independent, you know, market and circuit need to thank DJ Chase, because let's say if I didn't do the A&R position, I would have a whole entire different scope of how I did media. Because when I was doing media, I was never really easy on the artist. I was easy on the artist because I was always about business, and I'm like, yo, majority I don't understand business at all, like you know, whatsoever. So when I became A&R, which is last year, it's you kind of, and I came back in the media, it's kind of you got a better me in a sense. Okay. Because I'm more understanding. I look at everything under the totality of it, and it's not just only the artists; it was also what the promoters were doing, and other people were doing for the artists. And what do you expect the artist to do if you give or do crap to an artist, or whatever the case may be? Then the artist is going to do back, and then vice versa with the artist. It's the same thing. If y'all going to be crappy to the promoters and business owners and the venues and everything like that, what do you think they're going to do to you? And you don't do your homework, and you don't research the people, and you don't, then what do you expect?
Right.
So now, when I became A&R and then like back in media, and everything came in full circle, and even with cuts, you know what I'm saying? Culture, urban technology, and sports, even with that, it was a different me in media, because now it's like I'm more understanding. I really want viewers and listeners to understand of the people that I bring to interview.
Okay.
Because let's keep it a buck. Even with podcasting, everybody feels like, okay, hey, let me just get a mic and record.
Yeah.
And raw, and just blah, and it's gonna be great. Like, no, you got to understand the what people went through.
Right.
Trials and tribulations, like, and this and that. You know what I'm saying? So going into it with media now, and me coming back to the front of the camera, you know what I'm saying? I feel I could get back behind the camera soon, but I was missing getting in front because being the leading face, being that person, with cameras and lights, I'm not afraid of it because I'm already of that orient. You know what I'm saying? So definitely just the way I cover events and stuff like that, or cover listening events, listening parties, or I cover about a certain story or about a certain person, that's where it gets different. You know what I'm saying? Definitely with cuts, and with being an A&R, that's what helped me a lot, coming back in the media in this stage of it, you know what I'm saying? And it's been going okay. It's going cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the transition is hard for people because they still think, oh man, you're a producer, you could be one. I'm like, no, dude, I'm actor, podcaster, media personality. Like, there's other things besides me being a producer.
Right. So you've done, like, you've worn so many hats, so to speak, in the media world. What really has it just been like natural transition points from one to the other, or has it been like you kind of like feeling, like you're ready to take another step into a different position, or how is that?
It's been a little bit of both.
Okay.
I feel with me, see, here's the funny thing with me. I'm not going to lie to you. With me, I know how to do my start to finish.
Okay.
I feel a lot of people at times don't, per se, but I know for me, I know my start and finish. I know my lane. I know where it can go, right? So a lot of times, with projects and stuff like that, I felt it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, this is a little bit much, or whatever. Like, perfect example, like even with ReemTV, I miss it so much. That was my baby. I had that baby for like 13 years, like 14 years.
Why'd you have to let it go? That's
because it was running the shark.
Okay.
It was jumping the shark.
Okay.
And for y'all, the terminology "jumping the shark" it's used a lot in TV shows and stuff. It's meaning that a project or an idea lost its idea. And jumping the shark, I'm gonna show my age. It's from a show called Happy Days, where Fonzie jumped the shark. That was around when Happy Days was losing its flavor or losing its steam. So that episode is the way they get the terminology from jumping the shark.
Jumping the shark.
Yeah, like, who cares? Fonzie jumping the shark. Yeah. Like, it was crazy. It was like ridiculous. So,
So like when something like that jumps the shark, so to speak, is that because some people would consider like that as growth, like, oh, it took flight, it grew legs and it kind of became its own thing,
right? But
you're saying it kind of like lost the thing that it was supposed to be entirely.
Yeah, because at that time it was like I was involved in so much at that time that even when I was to like edit my episodes and even like that, I lost the spark of it because it was so much other things I was getting involved with. Like even when I won the back-to-back years in awards, with awards and stuff like that, it just took off to other things. And, oh, you should be an executive producer for this, and you could produce that, and you could do this, and I need you to video that. I need you to come to the event and do this. So I was so spread out like this, my legs and my arms everywhere, that when it came to my baby, it was like, oh.
You couldn't nurture it the way you wanted to.
Nah.
And it became more of like a hassle than something that you
my
felt
God,
like proud
season
of
7
doing.
was just like, oof.
Really?
Season 7 was like my hardest season to do because it was the final season, and then also too, it was just so hard to muster up the inertia and the energy and the spirit and it was so hard. Even when I did the Raz B interview, right?
Yeah.
Interview Raz B, which is like, I think to me in my career is like probably top 5 interviews.
Yeah, that's
that
a
I've
real
done.
cool interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
And the fact that it showed my growth, for me to not even remotely, I mean, people could go back and check it still on YouTube. For me to not even remotely mention about the rape allegations, and just stick to about his growth from when he went back to China, when he went to China to redo his career again. I focused from that point to now. That alone, and I freestyled that interview. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Freestyled that. I came off the dome. And that's another thing with my skill set within media I built. Like, just a lot of, like, I used to write things down, but I don't, like, I think probably like the last, let's see, when 2021, probably like the last, like, 6 years, I really don't write down my questions.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just straight. I read the media bios. I read them, the scope, study them. It's off the dome. Bow,
right.
Off the dome. Bow, 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 bow.
That's the organic conversation. And that's definitely what I'm trying to do is, you know, I like to like educate myself enough on the people that I'm bringing on the show.
Or worst case scenario, cheat sheet, haha.
Yeah.
You know, bullet points. You do the bullet
a couple things.
And then from there, it's just, that's when you just like, and it goes off of why.
Right.
You know, why. You know, why. You know, and you just go with it. Right. You know, you go with the punches. But you know, it's just it just comes that time. You know what I'm saying? It's just everything that I went through, you know, the wars, the ways I went through, you know, I remember 2015, 2016. It wasn't a time I wasn't at an event. And I remember with ReemTV radio when I was doing my own radio show and stuff like that. Internet radio show and stuff like that. Yo, I think I came to the studio in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? And I was so tired that I told the tech, I said, hey, listen, play 30 minutes of music. Let me drink this Monster.
Oh, man.
And then I'll get to it. And shockingly, out of nowhere, you wouldn't believe. So I drank the Monster. Oh, great, do it. So not only did I do my show, at the time I was at the Matrix Studios at the time, I also interviewed Lumi D, the rapper, old school rapper, Lumi D.
Yep.
I also interviewed her right after I did my show on a press day.
Oh boy.
So it was like, I was like,
oh boy, yeah.
All right, I'll join on. Cool. You know, I'm already like energy high off a Monster.
Yeah.
All right.
But also kind of running on empty.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, yo, but it just goes to show, like, that's the determination of what I've done. You know what I'm saying?
So I would say we've got like 5 or so minutes left. There's a few things that I want to do.
Let's do it.
The first that I definitely want to cover is just, I mean, you have so much experience in sort of like carving your own path, producing your own thing, going down this entrepreneurial journey. Mm-hmm. If you could sum up like your best advice or
I got that
to aspiring entrepreneurs or people who are just starting their journey and trying to figure it out, like which way to go, how to juggle it all.
First and foremost, definitely make sure you maintain your relationships, like with people that you meet, to networking or however, because you never know, you know, what's gonna happen down the road. Right. That's one. 2, consistency.
Bring it full circle.
Consistency. Be consistent.
I love it.
Be consistent. Lord, if you're not consistent, you don't know what you want. Because God, oh man, let's say if I wasn't consistent,
You just be all over the place. You just
my God, it would be a big train wreck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, literally. And then last but not least, study, understand, and research the business of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
That's so important. That's something I feel like I have learned as well, because I had a lot of help in the business aspect, sort of getting a podcast started in general. But then I found that I wasn't good at the time, at least. This is just about 2 years ago at this point. I was, so I had so much knowledge in the business from the one person who was offering me the business advice that I had actually like lost my way of like why I was doing it, because I started just focusing on the business. So it's like, it's that ability to understand the business aspects and be able to get them down and understand how they're going to work, but also then balancing it with that consistency of like why you're doing this, what the purpose is, what the meaning of all this is, because the numbers, they have to be there. The business part, so to your point, it has to be there.
Yeah, right.
But also the rest of it has to be there too. So it's like figuring out that balance, and you're hitting on those points with the business consistency, doing your research, maintaining relationships.
Yeah, by far.
Those relationships too, that's super important. Something it's like it's never taught anywhere. Leverage your network, like use your people, make connections.
Woo!
Put yourself in the places that the people you want to be are hanging out in. That
that's it.
Ask the questions. Don't be afraid.
Yep.
Relationships are incredibly important and everywhere, but specifically in building what you're trying to build.
Yes.
All right. So I have rapid fire questions.
Yes.
There's going to be 3 of them. They're super quick and easy.
One word?
Yeah, kind of off the top of your head. Well,
okay.
I'm gonna give you choices. Okay? And then I'm gonna let you kind of give your final words, give your shout outs. I gotta give my shout outs, and then we'll close it off.
Yes.
All right. So rapid fire. In the beginning of the podcast, I said we're focusing on 3 things, and we certainly covered them all. So
yes,
it was
we did.
Development, decision making, dedicating yourself to purpose. Development. Right now, currently, are you working more actively on personal development or professional development?
Actually, both. I hate to be political, but both.
That's kind of the answer that I get from a lot of people. I know we're all working on both, so
Yeah,
I like to hear it.
Yeah, I'm working on both.
Balance of both is awesome. This next one, ask me if you need me to clarify, and I will.
Okay.
Decision making. Do you make decisions based more on choice or guiding voice? Guiding voice being intuition or spiritual?
As of late, in the last year, spiritual and guiding voice.
Guiding voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been tapping in. I say my prayers to the Lord. Yes, I'm still working on my spirituality.
Yeah.
But definitely
As am I.
that. Yeah. Definitely that has helped me tremendously with my brand within the last year.
Yeah.
Just really just tapping into the Lord. Saying my prayers. Intuition, and just of knowing of the industry of what I know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just really like, oh no, we're not doing that. And shout out to even Chase, my partner DJ Chase with Worldwide Sound Records. Like the conversations beyond that we have.
That's awesome.
I
love asking this question too, because when we make decisions, like so many of us, I really have found that it's a pretty even split. But a lot of people, it's like when I say choice, it's like, do you just like, are you definitive with what you're doing? And then guiding voice is almost like you are brought to the decision. It's like you don't need to make it.
Right.
It's made for you, whether
Right.
it be intuition or spirituality or something else. And I just think it's so cool to kind of see that, as so many people know, I do psychology. Like that's how I got into counseling. So I love the psychology behind that.
Oh, yeah,
I think
by far.
it's so interesting.
By far, yes.
All right. The last one, which I kind of think, well, no, I'm not going to even make assumptions. The last one is dedicating yourself to purpose. For you in your life, was that a singular moment that took off, or is that a daily thing that you practice?
As I stated, with 2012 being the significant point in my life, it was definitely singular. You know what I'm saying?
Singular.
Because before that, there was nothing really of purpose per se. But then, like I said, once that happened, that's who you got in front of your face now.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh wow, pow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This
Yep.
has got to get done. That got to get done. Stay here. Stay within my lane.
Yeah.
Understand the business. You know.
That's it.
I
So
mean, like
so-
that, but you get
I got you. So yeah, that was kind of what I was gonna say. And another one, which I just think it's so interesting because I think we all have different definitions of purpose. You know, I have my own definition that I try to help other people kind of use as a guide to define what it is for them. But I just think that, you know, hearing your story, it seemed like there really was this turning point for you.
Yeah,
And
by far.
I hope that we all have, you know, some type of like almost like enlightening moment, no matter how dark the moment is, light
Right.
came out of it. And
Yes.
you know, I think that's truly remarkable.
Yeah, because I
hope
definitely
that for everyone.
know for a fact if I didn't come to education, it was gonna be scary times. It was definitely gonna be scary
Yeah.
hours. It's gonna be scary times. I know. I super know that for a fact. It was
Yeah.
gonna be real scary times. So yeah, being that 2012 is such a great marking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are my rapid fire questions. You have the floor to leave your final words, give your shout outs. I'll give mine and we'll close it out.
Oh yeah, definitely. First and foremost, God, thank you for having me on here. It's always a blessing when I do go on other platforms and
course.
make guest appearances. Definitely to everybody, you know, understand perseverance is real. Stay true to you. It works. It always does work. And don't let nobody put you in a box. You know, that's basically what I live on. Those are basically the final words to say. And bottom line, it's not always about the start. It's always about the finish. So as long as you understand that, you know, you're in the right path. So that's pretty much it.
I love to hear that. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's so awesome. Okay. Reemo Meerak, thank you
Yes.
so much.
Bree.
We're going to shout it out real quick to Gotham Podcast Studio.
Yes,
They are
yes.
the ones providing this awesome space.
Yes, yes.
If you are watching my podcast right now on YouTube or any other platform that I have it put out on, you'll see that I have an MC sweatshirt.
Woo.
Shout out to MC Kicks, MC Apparel. They
Yes.
are always hooking it up. You can find them in all their customized apparel and sneakers specifically at EMCEEKICKS.
Yes.
Definitely check them out. Give them a follow.
Yes.
And get some of their merch.
Yes, yes. And also, too, follow me
Yes, please.
on Instagram and Twitter at Reemo Meerak, ReemoMeerak, as well as go to the website, reemomeerak.com, as well as follow the podcast, Cuts, Culture, Urban Technology, and Sports, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, Apple, and as well as go to the website, cutspodcast.com.
Amazing.
Yes.
Reemo, thank you so
Bree,
much.
Yes, it was a pleasure. It was
been
honorable.
such a pleasure as I end all my podcasts. Until next time, my friends, let this be the moment. We'll talk soon.
All right. Peace. All right. Yes.